Access denied. Further efforts will be denied forcibly. Proceed.
How'd you know my name? I come in peace. Sam, the building just powered up. It spoke to me.
Are you safe? It's never done that before.
I'm fine. No sign of Jeffries.
I've got an electrical storm on the sensors.
I think it's already here.
Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to Subnautica Below Zero. This will be the final video I make pre-early access. All the new information and updates that will come with early access will be shown alongside gameplay as commentary, and I'm actually kind of thrilled that I don't think I'll be making any more of these types of videos. I do enjoy making them, mainly because it's Subnautica, and I'm ever so intrigued by the games. So with that being said, I have a lot of things that I want to talk about today, so sit back and relax, enjoy, and I gotta tell you, I'm pumped. And as a reminder, early access is coming very, very soon. So I'm excited, I hope you're excited, and let's get started. Now, the gameplay that you're going to see in the background, as per the watermark in the bottom left corner, is not my footage. This is not footage that I've gathered myself. This is a stream from the developers themselves, specifically Clegrin? I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I'll put a link to the channel in the description below alongside other information that I talk about today. So this footage is to give context to the information that I'm going to be discussing whenever you see it. The quality is a bit lower than I normally upload in, so if it's a bit blurry or doesn't look as crisp as you'd imagine, that's why. It's from a stream. Now, this stream in particular showed off the intro to the game leading up to the point where Robin reaches the alien sanctuary where Alan is located. If you aren't familiar with the story so far, don't worry, I'll recap that in a bit. I'm just giving you some context. So I'm going to start out the video by talking about some updates on the big guys, the Leviathans, one of the most interesting aspects aesthetically for Subnautica in general, the giant monsters. We all love them. And the first one I want to talk about just briefly is the vent garden. Now, on the Favreau, the vent garden is still, to this day, considered a cut candidate, which a lot of other things are as well, which means that these potentially could not make it into the game, vent garden being one of them. Now, the reason why I'm talking about it is because of this particular screenshot, which showcases a very large, to scale, I assume, vent garden hovering above the research base. This thing is a skyscraper. Now, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be underwater. I don't think this is any indication that it's going to be above water. The possibility exists, of course, everything is subject to change. By the way, everything you hear. It would be an interesting concept to enter into the vent garden above ground, but it's underwater when you get inside. But there's really no efficient way that I can think of to get in there anyway. So it's more than likely going to be underwater. And I think that just makes it about 10 times, just about 10 times more scary. Now, as you can see, this isn't a textured model, but the shape and the size are definitely there. Now, this could be off. Camera angle is everything, as we all know, but it looks as if it is standing behind the current cliffs, which if you compare to the distance between the cliffs and the base, how big Robin might be to fit in that tiny little doorway, this thing's massive. Now, it's still a cut candidate, but it's interesting to see this surface. This is definitely a size test or comparison, or at least the devs are teasing us. They all know we want the vent garden. It's one of the most creative entities in the game so far. Now, another beast we've spoke of, the Shadow Leviathan, got some more concept art that I want to show you that kind of highlights the terrifying aspects of the creature. This one in particular is absolute nightmare fuel. This is likely what you're going to see when it decides to eat you whole. You can actually see inside of its mouth, and it's quite normal, but the teeth, that's what gets me. On top of that, it has little hooks on the inside of each one of its centipede-like limbs on the front. I'm not sure what purpose that serves in the evolutionary development of this creature, but it's pretty gross. It's gross. And now I know some of this information is old, a lot of other YouTubers have already covered it, but the Iceworm got some full-body screenshots from what seems like a sketchfab model that is frustratingly not open to the public. I mean, there's nothing terrifying about this at all. Here's another one with a nice little depth of field blur and its mouth wide open. Again, this thing carves through the ice with its heated horn. That's some amazing biology. Now, this is just the cutest thing you'll probably ever see, even cuter than the pinglings themselves. This is the spy penguin, and I talked about it in a previous video. This was a fan or community collaboration to which it seems like the developers are actually heavily considering. I don't know if this animation is done by Unknown Worlds themselves or not. I don't have the sources for it. It was uploaded by Bibbidi, but it is to this day still considered a cut candidate. But look at this thing. That animation is cute as hell, and I love the design of the spy penguin. It actually looks like it could potentially blend in with the rest of them. That's awesome. Now, we may not have talked about it, but this is a video showing the player interacting with the Titan hullfish in-game. When it approaches and goes through the hoop, it says that you can replenish your oxygen, which is very useful for diving. You can also see at the very end the symbiote. Now, here's a real quick video of some new cloud formations, rendering that's taking place in the game. Typically stuff you don't notice immediately, but once you realize they're there, you appreciate it much more. Beautiful stuff. Now, just today, a video was released showcasing the updated voice acting for the intro, which features 3 new voiceover artists playing the roles of Sam, Robin, and Alan. I'll quickly play a few samples so you can hear it from that video, but if you would like to see the full thing, that'll be down in the description as well.
Station 0, this is Vesper. Come in.
Hi, Sam.
We lost contact with Jeffries up at the research site.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Understood?
Access denied. Further efforts will be denied forcefully. Concede, Robin Whittle.
How'd you know my name? I come in peace. Sam, the building just powered up. It spoke to me.
Are you safe? It's never done that before.
I'm fine. No sign of Jeffries.
I've got an electrical storm on the sensors.
I think it's already here.
Robin, come in.
I copy. I'm out in open water.
Stay where you are. I'm sending a rescue shuttle.
No, I'm okay. I just need shelter.
Now, I gotta say, this voice acting is actually quite good, which I can also assume that these are the first takes of the first draft of the story as it's in early access. Eventually, the voice work can be redone, rearranged, and remixed to sound even better. So I have high hopes for that. It's a good place to start. Now, a lot of you probably remember the old recordings, which were done internally and they were not commissioned by anyone. I'm not sure how much of the current voiceover work is being replaced with the new ones by the time we get early access, but maybe it'll be all of it. I'm excited to hear Alan speak more. It's rather intriguing. Now, just yesterday, the story writer for Subnautica Below Zero, Tom, tweeted this. Looks like we are pushing the Subnautica Below Zero script to the translators for early access. It'll be public soon enough. All sorts of work in progress stuff in there. Here's a tiny URL, but ciphered, which, according to the devs and the entire Discord server, was cracked within 24 minutes, and now we have access to it. What we got access to was this file, English.json. So this is a file that's going to accompany the game files, and this is mainly for translators to then translate this into different languages to be available for early access, I'm assuming. In here is mostly all of the game text that you're going to see, naturally. Everything from the headers, the titles, the databank entries, and the descriptions, anything that shows up on screen, your PDA talking to you, all of it can be translated, and it's all available here. Now, there are major spoilers ahead. I almost hate myself for spoiling it in such great detail with this. Now, everyone has access to this, and I'll post it in the description if the devs are okay with that. I don't see why not. But most of this is going to be familiar items. A lot of databank entries for older Subnautica creatures are going to be in there as well. The items, the plants, everything. But around the middle of this document is when things start to get good. Once you get past all the tooltips, all the other information regarding your HUD, after all of that, this is where it starts to get interesting. And again, major spoilers ahead. Now, considering this is a very plain text document, this is strictly to be drawn from in the game's code, I'm not going to be showing you this document while I tell you about it, but I will tell it to you and accompany it with footage from, again, the dev's stream, which I will link down in the description below. Now, I'm going to be starting here at prototyping, and I want to point out a few things that are very interesting. I'm not going to read everything, but just things that will make you think about where this story is headed. For one, the frozen skeleton, the frozen Leviathan that we all know about at this point. We know that we're supposed to be getting a biosample from it. I, however, was not aware that it was going to be a sample of the KHARAA infection. That's an interesting point in this story because as far as we knew, it wasn't going to dive into the KHARAA, given that the Emperor juveniles are floating around all over the planet and can even communicate to us. Yes, we'll talk about that in a second too. Aside from that, this particular line in this script gave me a bit of chills because I can't tell if it's a joke from the devs or if this is real. It says Vesper Destruction _1. In quotations, the Vesper has exploded and the credits are now playing. I don't know if that means that that is how the game ends. I sincerely doubt it is, or at least that the devs would show this so openly during the early access launch. I think it could potentially be something that happens throughout the game if things aren't completed in time. That's a speculation of mine, that the Vesper could be in trouble or in danger at certain points in the story, and if not completed, this is what happens and you get a really bad ending. I don't know, it seems like it could potentially be a joke or something put into this document to throw everyone off. Below this, everything is separated into Act 1, the voice logs, and the dialogue between Robin, Sam, and the other characters that we meet throughout the story. Now, everyone should be pretty much aware of the intro sequence. This is the one we've shown before. It was in a bug report for a strange sound happening when Robin reaches the alien sanctuary looking for Jeffries. But in short, Robin wakes up from a dream, potentially another intro sequence to introduce Robin to the game. She's informed by Sam, her sister, who was aboard the Vesper, which is a geosynchronous orbiting vessel, that Joe Jeffries, Robin's partner, is missing. Robin then proceeds to look for Joe Jeffries, approaching the alien base that they've been researching. Now, this particular visit is strange because the base speaks out to Robin, telling her to not enter the base. It even calls her by name, which clearly piques her interest. Upon exiting and attempting to return back to the main base, an electrical storm rolls in and destroys the way to that base, and I assume the base itself. A certain set of events leads Robin to be exposed to the open Arctic area, where she must now try to do more research, discover where Jeffries went, and fight off some brute sharks and all that fun stuff. Now, during this time and during your exploration, eventually Sam, your sister, will lead you to an alien sanctuary. After discovering it and entering into it, Robin finds the alien, Alan, as his name is, but she doesn't know his name just yet. It is an alien voice, or at least at first, the sanctuary itself speaking to her. Now, Robin's curiosity, and as it's described in other documents that you may find in this file, the human race has not, still to that day, the year that the game takes place, humans have not encountered an alien spacefaring race. Robin, being who she is, a zoologist, is very much eager to meet this alien. She's very eager to meet the people who built this place, she says. The sanctuary, or Alan, expresses that they are concerned with what Alterra could potentially want from it or to do to it. Now, as Robin enters the main chamber of the sanctuary, she sees what's described as a visualization of Alan. I don't know what that means exactly, but maybe we'll see some kind of image or projection of what Alan is supposed to be, or maybe just an entity to indicate that he's there. Now, there's a terminal inside it that states flush facility control data, and Robin's curiosity and, for some reason, boneheadedness entices her to push the giant red button, as cliche as that sounds, and begin to flush the data. Now, while the data is flushing, it is looking for an empty vessel, which ends up being Robin's cerebral cortex. And now Alan is inside of Robin's mind, which Alan, and I'm assuming Robin as well, does not like too much. He threatens to blow up the Vesper if she does not return him back to his previous state. And for some reason, Robin calls out Alan's bluff. Alan is bluffing because he doesn't want attention drawn to him, again because he fears what Alterra could potentially want from or do to him. So now the two are stuck together. Best friends for life. Robin exits and speaks to Sam, who is ever so curious about what Robin found inside of the sanctuary. Robin, given that she cares for all life and is super interested in this alien, is hesitant to inform Sam of Alan's existence. All at the same time, Sam notices some abnormal readings in Robin's biometrics, and just to be sure she's alright, she sends down a bioscanner to Robin requesting a sample from her. Now obviously that could cause some problems given that Alan is inside of her mind. The readings she's getting are probably accurate. Now an alternative version apparently exists for this interaction where Sam guides Robin to the cargo rocket, assuming Robin is already in possession of the bioscanner, and can send the desired sample. Now of course for Alan as well, sending the sample is not a good idea. He will be exposed if either she refuses to send the biosample or goes up there after they see that her biosample is actually accurate and they want to inspect her and eventually find Alan. Fortunately for everyone and for the continuation of the story, Alan is able to mask himself specifically for the scan to avoid being detected. And after the scan is sent, Sam informs Robin that she will be sending her a snow fox to use to travel, which is a huge yay for me. Now, as predicted, Alan is questioning Robin about her lies to her sister, to which Robin states she was protecting them both, that is Alan and Robin. Now Robin wishes to remove Alan as it is intruding on her overall well-being, presumably, and this is where the vessel building starts to unfold. We talked about this before, that we have to create a body for the precursor. Now as Alan wishes to remain in a mobile, functional vessel, and because Robin wants Alan out, now they have to figure out how she can build a vessel for him. Now, eventually, Sam calls Robin with the CEO on the line, I'm assuming from Altera, whose name is listed as Maxim, who is not pleased with either Sam or Robin. Robin's scans make no sense to him, and the alien base spoke her name, as she reported to Sam. And with Jeffries missing, Maxim is kind of furious at everyone. That interaction alone indicates that Altera is going to be involved in some way, so that's not a good thing. Now, after some time, Alan informs Robin about building him the new vessel officially, sending information to her. And without a name, Robin starts to get interested and wants to be a little bit more personable with the precursor. She requests a name, and he states, "You may append my seed code to the species designation. You may call me Alan, A-L-A-N. Saying that she has waited her whole life to meet a spacefaring alien, she is surprised but at the same time pleased with that name, so Alan it is. Now this is where the story, the concise story, ends for the release of Early Access, what we will have available to us in a concise form until it's updated. Now you can still find the further acts, apparently broken afterwards, potentially, like finding the remaining pieces you need to build Alan's new body. Now as the other acts are stated to potentially be broken or unfinished, I'm only going to state a few key points here. 1. Robin gets to interact with Marguerite, who was presumed dead in Subnautica. Apparently 12 years living on this planet, and she has survived, somehow making her way across the void to the Arctic megabiome. Now, we've known she's alive for quite some time now in Below Zero, mainly because there was a map that was released early on that said Marguerite's path, which kind of indicated how she traveled to where she's currently located. So we knew that we would have some kind of interaction with her. It's just nice to see the dialogue, which I'll leave that up to you if you want to read some. Now on to Jeffries, Joe Jeffries, the colleague that is missing. This is quite interesting to me, the interaction that happens and what Jeffries is actually doing, because it's not very clear, but it is very telling. So Sam eventually, in a later act, notifies Robin that they found his GPS, or tracked it, and was able to tell Robin exactly where he passed over. Searching that area, Robin finds Jeffrey's PDA. Now, Alan says the data suggests your colleague was aware of my existence. You cannot pass this information to your masters. Robin is worried because she hopes that whatever information they can find about Jeffries could potentially save his life, so Altera knowing about it could be beneficial, but at the same time, since for some reason Jeffries is aware of Alan's existence, they have to get rid of it, and that's what apparently Robin does. Alan eventually says, if Jeffries is found alive, he may expose us, to which Robin replies, we'll have to cross that bridge if we come to it. I'm not sure if that means that they're potentially going to whack him for fear of him snitching? I don't know. So eventually, a rescue ship in the distance returns to the Vesper, and Sam reaches out to say, hey, we got Jeffries, my dog, and he says he wants to speak to Robin. Now, they have a normal conversation because it's on open transmission between the three of them, Sam, Robin, and Jeffries. Jeffries states, I was on patrol of the research sites. A warper came for me, teleported me to the next sector. He's reminded, obviously, that the warpers only ever attacked infected targets before. Jeffrey says that he's been scanned and that he's not infected at all. Now, that's also kind of telling, potentially, because also in the documents, a conversation between Sam and Robin happens where Sam informs Robin that the supply of enzyme 42 that they had on board the Vesper is completely depleted. Now, obviously, the warper attacks infected individuals and not anyone carrying the enzyme 42, but I'm kind of led to believe that it's possible Jeffries is behind that. I'm not sure the motives behind it. I'm sure that'll be explained later if that's true, but it would make sense if he is stealing it because potentially he's infected and that's why the warper attacked him, and he's just lying saying that he wasn't infected at all. Now, after this genuine interaction and everyone's all happy that Jeffries is there, Robin gets an incoming transmission from an anonymous source saying, Robin Goodall, I know your secret. You are hiding the alien from Altera. There is no need to lie. Altera cannot monitor this channel. I have information for you. Think of it as a favor you may return to me in the future. Altera suspects you. Choose your words with them carefully. Find Marguerite Maida. She can help you. And that's where the Marguerite story comes in, interestingly enough. Now, this voice could very well be Jeffries. But again, without knowing any motives or any other details, it's hard to tell. This could be Marguerite. I'm not sure if the anonymous voice is filtered to hide its identity. That would be telling, but we don't know. Now, there are a lot of other tidbits of information that happen. It's still rather organized, but there isn't too much information to give away a lot of the plot points. You can read through it if you'd like. I highly suggest you do. The interesting thing is the Act 5 ending, where Alan requests for a white tablet that is required for something, and Robin has to go retrieve it. Once she comes back with it, he says, please insert the tablet. Once you do, we cannot turn back. Then it says, ending cutscene, it's a secret. And then it says, the end, ? Which is interesting, because that kind of leaves the potential for another chapter, which I'm all for, absolutely. Also, I had mentioned that there was a moment where you can actually talk to the emperors. Now, there's a part in the intro that plays and says, we are different, but we go together. That is referencing the ending to Subnautica, and it sets up the intro for Below Zero. Now, eventually, in Act 4, you're going to speak to some juvenile emperors, the ones that are roaming around. They'll say, hello, friend, and Robin proceeds to ask for more enzyme. And the emperor says, it's still strange, but that's okay. I'm very curious to know what else we could potentially talk about with the juvenile emperors. Now, I'm happy, but I'm also sad that I've spoiled myself. I know I asked too many questions when I met the team. I can't help but be ever so curious about it. But I'm excited to see how this all plays out. Knowing how the story goes doesn't substitute experiencing it in the game. Now, of course, early access is going to be very early stages, but I would say from what I've played and what I've seen so far in the dev streams, it is at a way further state than Subnautica was when it came out in early access, and that was amazing. So I have nothing but high expectations for this. Don't let me down, devs, or I will be disappointed. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. And that's going to conclude today's video. I know there's a lot of other little things here and there. At the very bottom of this document, you can read the entries for all the different Below Zero creatures, the lily paddler, the penguin, rock puncher, arctic ray, brute shark, all of the databank entries when you use the scanner on them, they're there, at least from the ones they want to put there. Highly recommend checking it out. Again, links are down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification icon so you can get updated when I upload the next video. And next week, hopefully, when we get to play Subnautica Below Zero. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!